Anyway, next on, we're on to the kind of conspiracy or rumours here about the Sega announcement on Friday that's coming on Friday. And obviously it was originally going to be following the Sony launch of the PlayStation 5. Now that's been postponed, but Sega apparently are still going ahead with their announcement. So their announcement, there's a few rumours. So I'll start with the rumour and then I'll go with my thoughts on what it probably is going to be. The rumour people are saying is basically that Microsoft are going to buy out Sega. Now, I don't know about this one. It's quite possible because let's face it, Microsoft have probably got the cash to do it. But so the idea or the rumour is they purchase Sega. So obviously you still see Sega games being published. It'll probably be still worked on by the same team, but under the umbrella of Microsoft. Let's face it, Microsoft try and buy anything nowadays. We know Minecraft, they buy loads of studios, but you know, don't get me wrong, most game companies do this. Very rarely do they buy a big rival brand like that though. Although, could you really class Sega as a rival nowadays? Probably not. Software-wise, yes. But this is one issue I've already got, is what if that did happen, if Sony, or if Microsoft, I should say, bought Sega, does this then mean you'd only get Sega games on a Microsoft console, or an Android or iOS, because they're kind of different, cutting out Sony? Because let's face it, this is going to be a weird launch the end of this year when the Xbox comes out and the PlayStation 5. Because as we all know, Xboxes don't particularly sell well in Asia. Now, Asia is a massive market, so the idea would be that Sega released a console under the umbrella of Microsoft, so Microsoft obviously get all the money. They then release a Sega console in Japan under the name Sega, even though it could be a Microsoft product. Or the other idea would be that, well, yeah, I suppose they could keep it separate, and then it would be essentially the same system in America, but it would still be known as an Xbox. I don't know. This, to me, is a bit like, I can kind of see where the ideas come from. Like I said, Microsoft don't tend to do well in Asia. Sony obviously do, and are doing pretty well everywhere else. But, you know, let's face it, America or USA is essentially a Xbox. I'm pretty sure, as we know by the numbers, is very much a predominantly Xbox country. And you can see this when you go to things like E3. When I went to E3 last year, the Microsoft fans turned up in their droves. Don't get me wrong, Sony wasn't there, but I personally think, you know, let's face it, USA is very Microsoft, or Xbox, I should say, kind of country. Anyway, that rant over. Now I'm going to go on to what I think it quite possibly could be. Now, yes, they could class that, what I've just mentioned, as revolutionary. Yeah, I think, you know, could be the case. What I think Sega could do is maybe, because as we know, Sony and Microsoft already have games on demand. So PlayStation Now, and you got the Game Pass. Both pretty decent, to be fair. Xbox edges it a little bit, to be fair, with the titles. But could Sega now be releasing essentially a Netflix for all of their games? And what I mean by all of their games, I mean you can literally play the entire library, be it from the SG-1000 all the way up to the Dreamcast, and even new titles as well, like the most recent Sonic games, you know, the most recent Sega games, all on there, as well as, let's face it, the only thing I could see being an issue is obviously Sega publish a lot of games like Colonial Marines, oh Christ, you name it. I'm trying to find one on the shelf that, you know, is there as a Sega published game. Anyway, in the new Alien game is going to be obviously the original, the one we've just had, published by Sega. Could this mean, because that's on those other consoles, that it won't become this? I don't know. Anyway, personally I'm thinking more of the older games, the games up to the Dreamcast level. Maybe all the way up to Dreamcast, you would be able to do essentially a Netflix of games. Now, that would come with a monthly charge or whatever. You know, it would be, as long as it works, and let's face it, older games probably work absolutely fine, even up to Dreamcast would work absolutely fine. Would this then release on a Sega branded console? Or would this just be essentially an app on Android, on iOS, on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Switch? Or would this release coinciding with all of that, as well as having a console of their own to do that? And that also be a platform for an eventual more releasing of newer games by Sega, because let's face it, Sega own Atlas. This is another thing about the Microsoft theory, which I'm starting to think the Microsoft theory probably won't happen. Don't get me wrong, it's not something I believe, it's just I know a lot of people are talking about it. But yeah, obviously Sega own a lot of different properties, so, you know, are Microsoft trying to do a Disney, buying everything? It's quite possible, but I don't know. Sega aren't exactly cash. You know, they've got a cash flow nowadays just from software, whereas, you know, they're not. Obviously, they've been kind of testing the water of mini consoles, etc. But I don't know if they'd want to go partnering with someone like Microsoft, because I feel like Microsoft kind of stripped some brands of what they once were. I don't know. This is all speculation. I personally am going to go with the theory of maybe a console, but that console would be a kind of discless system. It would be entirely digital. So obviously they wouldn't need to pay for, you know, things like producing games on discs. It would all be digital, because let's face it, digital is taking a stronghold nowadays. As much as I love my physical media, and I think there is still a place for physical media, I just could see someone like Sega kind of creeping into the hardware market as digital only. I could be wrong. This is just an idea, but this could be interesting. This could be a three horse race this winter. Although I don't think Sega's got much of a grip on gamers as Sony and Xbox, because let's just face it, they just don't. Or even Nintendo. But, you know, that's what I think. Anyway, I'd like to have your comments down below. I'd love to see what you all think, because this is going to be an interesting one. Anyway, I've been Al from Games Europe. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.